at St. Dominic Parish in Yauri.
5 forest guards, including a commander, have been killed by armed bandits in Nukur community in Kayama local government area of Kwara State. It was gathered that the suspected terrorists who stormed the Nukur community today also destroyed motorcycles of the forest guards and burnt down several buildings in the community. It was also learned that the patrolled vehicles of the police in the area were set ablaze during the attack. Some members of the community said that the area was thrown into confusion and panic as a result of the incident, leading to villagers running helter-skelter in search of a safe abode. The Kwara State Police Command, in a release signed by the Public Relations Officer Adetong Ejire, confirmed the attack, adding that tactical and intelligence-driven operation has commenced to track down the attackers.
Operatives of the Ogun State Police Command have foiled an alleged attempt to secretly bury a murder victim, arresting 3 suspects linked to the crime in Akute area of the state. The suspects were apprehended by detectives attached to Ajuwon Division following a tip-off on suspicious activities within the community. Police said the arrest was made when officers stormed the scene and caught one of the suspects attempting to bury a blood-soaked corpse in a shallow grave in what authorities described as a cover-up effort. The victim was found with severe head injuries, as preliminary investigation revealed that he was allegedly attacked with a wooden pestle, while other suspects, said to be relatives of the deceased, conspired in both the killing and the attempted concealment. The suspected murder weapon has been recovered, while the remains of the deceased have been deposited at a mortuary in Olambe for autopsy. Confirming the incident, the Commissioner of Police, Ogun State Command, CP Bode Ojajuni, condemned the act, describing it as cruel, inhumane and deeply disturbing, particularly as it involved close family members. He warned that acts of violence and attempts to conceal crimes would not be tolerated, giving the assurance that the command would ensure a thorough and transparent investigation.
The Nigerian Bar Association, NBA, has warned that it will take disciplinary action against lawyers who institute court cases aimed at drawing the judiciary into internal disputes within political parties. In a statement released amid ongoing factional and leadership crisis in the coalition-backed African Democratic Congress, ADC, the association expressed concern over what it described as a growing trend of legal practitioners and courts becoming entangled in intra-party matters despite clear provisions of the law. The NBA stressed that the law explicitly bars courts from entertaining cases relating to the internal affairs of political parties, adding that courts are also restricted from issuing interim or interlocutory orders in such matters. The association criticized what it described as ongoing violations of these provisions and warned that such practices could undermine democratic processes. The NBA vowed to take decisive action against erring practitioners.
In a country grappling with high poverty levels, curbing vote trading remains a major challenge, as experts warn that weak enforcement and lack of prosecution continue to foil the practice. This formed the focus of discussion on the BCOS Current Affairs Breakfast Program, AM 120, where stakeholders examined the theme 2027 polls, vote trading, apathy and party crisis. BCOS reporter Fedora Folagwe, who monitored the program, reports.
As preparations for the 2027 general elections gather momentum, concerns over vote trading, voter apathy, and internal party crises continue to dominate public discourse. Observers note that these challenges not only undermine democratic integrity, but also weaken public confidence in the electoral process. Speaking on BCOS television breakfast program AM 120, Public Affairs Analyst Professor Babatunde Adegoke attributed the persistence of vote trading to the absence of strong political ideology among many leaders. He explained that the prioritization of personal and family interest over public service often fuels defections and may trigger increased cross-carpeting ahead of the 2027 polls. On voter apathy, Professor Adegoke noted that limited knowledge of candidates and a growing belief that election outcomes are predetermined discourage citizens from participating in the electoral process.
In Nigeria of today, you find out that people are not really interested in serving the people. They're interested in bringing up their own family and the immediate environment. So it makes it so easy. So if I don't get what I want in party A, then I move straight away to party B, since there is no difference between party A and party B. It's not, the parties were not created on the basis of ideology. In fact, we are going to see more of this cross-carpeting in the next few months preceding the election.
Also on the program, legal practitioner Sharafadin Soni, SAN, emphasized that responsibility for credible election does not rest solely on the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. He explained that while the commission is mandated to conduct elections, it cannot dictate voter behavior or eliminate malpractice without the cooperation of the electorate. Soni added that although the INEC chairman is expected to uphold professionalism, meaningful change ultimately depends on citizens making informed and responsible choices at the polls.
There's not going to be anything different except if you want to deceive ourselves. He's not a miracle worker. Yes, he's going to do his best, and we're going to have it as we used to have it before, except when the voters decide to, because the fate is in their hands to use it. When they decide to use their fate to their vote to determine their fate, and at the end of the game get the results they want.
Both analysts call the Nigerians to actively participate in the electoral process, resist vote trading, and hold political actors accountable as the nation prepares for the 2027 general elections. Fedora Afolagbe, BCOS News.
This broadcast of Newscope is coming to you from the Broadcasting Corporation of Oyo State, Ibadan. The Olubadan of Ibadan land, Oba Rashidi Ajewolu-Ladoja, has announced a major reform in the process of entering the Olubadan chieftaincy line, declaring that financial influence will no longer determine eligibility. The monarch made this known at the Olubadan Palace in Okearemo, Ibadan, during the conferment of the title of Jagun Olubadan on Mogaji Fajemi, Chief Oladiran Alabi Yerumbi. Staff reporter Adebayo Abdurrafi brings the details.
The Olubadan of Ibadan land, Oba Rashidi Ajewolu-Ladoja Arusa I, stated that the era where money or influence dictated entry into the Olubadan line has come to an end, emphasizing that merit and service will now take precedence. He explained that in addition to educational exposure and a visible means of livelihood, prospective candidates must demonstrate verifiable contributions to the development of their families and the wider Ibadan community. Speaking through the Balogun of Ibadan land, Oba Tajuddin Ajibola, the monarch disclosed that the Olubadan Advisory Council is in full support of the new policy, which led to the establishment of 3 screening committees to assess applications from interested Mogajis. According to him, applicants are now required to present credible evidence of grassroots development efforts before being considered for the Jagun title, the entry point into the Olubadan succession line.
Shine your eyes very, very well.
Oba Ladoja congratulated Chief Oladiran Alabi Yerumbi, who emerged successful among 102 applicants, describing his selection as a reward for merit and service. He also acknowledged the contributions of other contestants, urging them not to be discouraged, noting that only one vacancy was available.
The first pledge is to increase the development of Ibadan, improve the ability for youths to be gainfully employed and to empower people that wants to be empowered. That is my vote to KBS, and that is exactly what's going to happen. We've been doing it, but now it's going to be all over Ibadan, and we are ready, willing, and able to do it.
The reform is seen as a significant step towards strengthening transparency and preserving the integrity of the traditional institution in Ibadan land. Adebayo Abdurrafi, BCOS News.
OluyELETI OFEole Obakim Wade has warned individuals involved in land grabbing, particularly those who employ violence, threats or coercion to extort fees from legitimate property owners, urging them to desist or face severe consequences. The monarch's warning followed the wave of violent attacks reportedly carried out by land grabbers against residents of 12 villages in Oyo West local government area. In a statement issued today by its Director of Media and Publicity, Bode Durujaye, the paramount ruler lamented that over time, land speculators and lawless individuals seeking unearned gains have resorted to various unlawful tactics to dispossess rightful owners of their properties. Obawade reminded perpetrators that the Real Properties Protection Law 2016 has been enacted by the Oyo State government and is currently being enforced through a dedicated task force unit. Reiterating his administration's commitment, the royal father affirmed that no effort will be spared in safeguarding security across the kingdom.
Women in Oyo State have been encouraged to embrace the evolving digital landscape, particularly artificial intelligence, as a tool for growth, innovation, and empowerment. The call was made at the AI Revolution Leadership Momentum, a platform designed to equip women with the skills needed to thrive in business, career, and leadership in the digital economy. Staff reporter Adebayo Abdurrafi, who was at the event held at the Oyo State Secretariat, Agode Ibadan, reports that the wife of the state governor, Engineer Makinde, delivered the keynote address.
The AI Revolution Leadership Momentum was an initiative of the Senior Special Assistant to the Oyo State Governor on Local Government and Chieftaincy Matters, Dr. Ramata Agberemi Dabo, through our platform, Female Leadership Legends, wife of the Oyo State Governor, Engineer Makinde, in a keynote address delivered by the State Head of Service, Mrs. Olubomi, urged women not to be intimidated by technological changes, but to see them as opportunities for advancement. She expressed optimism that participants had gained practical knowledge to improve their businesses and daily lives, stressing the need for professionals, businesswomen, and civil servants to embrace artificial intelligence for greater productivity.
Our Excellency said women must support women, that we must encourage ourselves, and we must do so well to train ourselves, to teach ourselves in the art of using AI to improve our work, that in our workplace we should be able to adapt to technological advancement.
In a presentation, a life coach, Reverend Olufunke Adetuberu, emphasized the importance of emotional healing and self-awareness as foundations for effective leadership among women. She noted that unresolved trauma and emotional burdens could hinder growth, adding that women must prioritize their well-being to build stable and successful futures.
As a female leader, if you are battling with rejection, abandonment, probably you are divorced or things that happen to you that has really crushed you, affect your self-esteem, making you to make wrong decisions, the first thing to do is to go to therapy and heal. Therapy is for you to be able to bounce back unscorched and unscruffled.
Also speaking, the chairman, Oyo State House of Assembly Committee on Women Affairs, Honorable Olufunke Comforter, encouraged women to believe in themselves and strive for excellence in all their endeavors. Goodwill messages from Mrs. Aduke Fumilayo and Princess Seyi Oyewale highlighted the need for women to overcome fear, pursue education, and actively participate in leadership and political processes. Convener of the program, Dr. Ramata Agberemi-Dabo, described female leadership legends as a non-partisan platform committed to nurturing women for leadership roles. She stressed that leadership begins from the home, urging women to leverage artificial intelligence to enhance their businesses and professional relevance. Dr. Agberemi-Dabo also called for stronger support among women to enable more of them attain leadership positions, while appreciating Governor Seyi Makinde for providing opportunities for women in governance.
Career-oriented women are the women giving back to the society that we do not see on the screen, or we do not see on the platform, or that do not hold a mic, but they pay their quota and they give back to society to make sure our society is healthy and safe for our children.
The event brought together women from diverse professional backgrounds, all united by a shared goal of harnessing digital innovation for personal growth and societal development. Participants expressed readiness to apply the knowledge gained with a renewed commitment to supporting one another and shaping a more inclusive and empowered future for women. Adebayo Abdurrafi, BCOS News.
In the world of sports, President of the Confederation of African Football, CAF, has rejected accusations of corruption by the Senegalese government after the body's struck decision to strip Senegal of its AFCON title and award it to Morocco. During the match, Senegalese players head coach Pape Toure and his staff walked off the pitch in Rabat after Morocco was awarded an added time penalty, which forward Brahim Diaz ultimately missed. The Senegalese Football Federation has appealed CAF's decision at the Court of Arbitration for Sports. The decision has sparked a strong response by Senegal, whose government has called for an international investigation into suspected corruption within the institution.
On the foreign scene, Djiboutians today voted in a presidential election expected to hand a sixth term to 78-year-old Ismail Omar Guelleh, who faces just one little-known opponent in the small but highly strategic Horn of Africa nation. Guelleh has ruled the East African country of about 1 million people for 27 years with an iron grip, leveraging its key location to turn it into an international military and maritime hub. Its mere 23,000 square kilometers, 8,900 square miles, hosts military bases and contingents from France, United States, China, Japan, and Italy, generating substantial financial security and political benefits. Guelleh had announced he would step down this year, but a constitutional amendment in November removed the upper age limit of 75 for presidential candidates, clearing the way for him to run again. Turnout appeared low 6 hours into voting at multiple polling stations visited by newsmen. Guelleh has plastered the capital of Djibouti with campaign posters and drawn thousands to his rallies, while Samata has struggled to gain support.
To end this edition of Newscope, here again are the main points. President Bola Tinubu has expressed deep sadness over the loss of soldiers of the 29th Task Force Brigade, Operation Hadinkai, who were killed in a coordinated terrorist attack on their camp in Benishek, Borno State.
The Nigerian Bar Association has warned that it will take disciplinary action against lawyers who institute court cases aimed at drawing the judiciary into internal disputes within political parties.
The Olubadan of Ibadan land, Oba Rashidi Adewolu-Ladoja, has announced a major reform in the process of entering the Olubadan chieftaincy line, declaring that financial influence will no longer determine eligibility.
Djiboutians today voted in a presidential election expected to hand a sixth term to 78-year-old Ismail Omar Guelleh, who faces just one little-known opponent in the small but highly strategic Horn of Africa nation.
And that's all from Newscope Desk for now. It was packaged by Bode Akijola and delivered by
Josephine Oluwabomi. Good evening.
I am Jamila Ilegbede. Thank you for listening, and do not forget to tune in for the Yoruba version at 8 p.m. Good evening.